Greetings and salutations, Clubiteers. Now we're here at lovely Eva Castle, where we've been all day, and we're now joined by Tobias from Warhorse Studios.
Exactly. Welcome to my castle,
Welcome
because
to your home,
this
your
is
home.
This is actually my home, which I don't know why he doesn't want to admit, but today, unfortunately, I have a problem with the chimney, so there's no fire. But I hope that's okay for you.
That's fine. I've
Gin and beer and wine is here in
the
liters.
beer's fine. We kept the coat on, but okay.
Yeah, but yeah. So welcome to my home.
Thank you for having us. We've had a bit of time with Kingdom Come Deliverance today. First of all, it's a masterpiece of a game.
Oh wow, thank you. That's some big words.
It's we've been chatting about off camera before, and it's very. How do you feel about it being likened to Skyrim?
You know, for me, I get this question a lot, like about comparing it to other games. This is usually when you pitch it somewhere or some publishers or so on, they want to know how you would compare it or to what you would compare it. And I have a hard time to actually compare it. So I would say it's a mixture of Witcher storytelling. It's in combination with Red Dead Redemption, long big like big map, big field. Sometimes you just wander somewhere, there's a prairie, there's nothing to find, but it's the atmosphere which is enriching the gameplay. Then there's Skyrim, where we have the adventure, the going for the long quest, for the castles and these kind of stuff. There's also a lot of Skyrim in this game. So it's a combination of in general it's like in almost every design product you create, you take what you like,
and
combine it, and then add your own spice to it. So yeah, it's definitely a combination of games you like, but I think I tend to say that the result is so different from most of the other.
Yeah, it's a very unique game.
No, I don't say it because I work at Warhorse Studios. I say it because Toby, as a gamer, never ever saw anything like this before. I started at Warhorse Studios.
We've been hooked in it all day. It's amazing. There's one thing I really need to ask you though, is that there's a lot of effort gone into it being, I don't use the phrase because you told us not this morning, of historically accurate. It's historically appropriate for what we know. Is that the phrase?
Exactly.
Yeah. What made you do that? Why was it so important to do that? I mean, it could have been a lot easier to create a fake world and a fake thing. Why was it so important to be so historically correct, or as much as you could be?
In the first place, the point was that two guys were sitting in a pub drinking beer and saying, how about we create a realistic game? How about we create a historically accurate game? The point, why? Because easiest answer, no one did it before, and there's just a gap in the market, and we thought back then that it's a cool thing to try to, and as I said, no one tried it before. The second thing is the historical event. We took a look at the historical timeline of Europe and said, wow, Holy Roman Empire has so many stories to tell, and no one really did that before in the RPG. So why not taking something that actually really happened? Assassin's Creed shows the French Revolution, for example. Now with the new origins, it's Egypt, right? And we thought in 2011 or 12, let's do the Hussite Wars, or the prequel to the Hussite Wars. But we have a full-time historian in the team, and the funny thing is, and that's what I said this morning, she doesn't like when someone says it's a historically accurate game. That's always when she like her historian heart is bleeding then, because she always says it's our interpretation of this particular period of history. So what she means is that we did a lot of research. We talked to museums, to universities, and so on. We visited the places, but we also had to interpret a lot. We had to rebuild stuff. There were churches completely destroyed with no notes of how they actually looked like. So we rebuilt stuff, and then it's all about compromises, because we know that's just a video game. And you have to have some gameplay things inside. It's not a medieval simulator where you can just become a farmer or something. It's a game. It's all story driven. So it lives and dies with the story. And in there you have to do some compromises to make it a fun game actually. And the result is, I think, Kingdom Come. And if you ever played, our creative director is Daniel Vavra. If you ever played Mafia 1 or 2, you can expect this type of storytelling, really immersive, really like funny and so on. And he's not so known maybe in the world, but Our lead designer is Victor Bozan, and he's responsible for Operation Flashpoint and later Arma. If you know these games, it's a military simulator, and those, which is super realistic, one-shot kill and so on. And if you combine those two games, I think they have their strong handwriting in Kingdom Come. So story-driven, realistic, but still gameplay values are there as well, like RPG things are there as well. But I think it's very demanding, this game in general.
It is very demanding. I mean, I love. I was going to mention that I love the fact that the character you play is a fictional character.
Exactly.
But all the main characters around them are based on true characters and true people that actually existed. But I love, like I mentioned it to Skyrim earlier, it has that kind of open world exploration and that feel to it and that depth. But it's quite brutal in its fighting. This isn't, you can't go and swing a sword. If you go and swing a sword, you're dead.
Exactly. So this is our approach. We want you to think about what you are doing. And if you can run in full steam ahead, but then you need to properly prepare before, right type of armor, right type of weapons, a lot of food and stuff with you, and so on and so on. But yeah, we want you, and that's what I came up with this yesterday, and I think this is a quite good quote for the game, is that you have to fight with brain, not with muscle. You will never be the Superman, slicing through 10 soldiers. It's really one-to-one, and then you have to look and analyze your opponent. There's a boss battle for it. In the safe game you played today, there's a boss battle in the end. He's super strong, but if you understood the concept of the game, then you see that he has no helmet, and if you attack the head, all of a sudden he's relatively easy if you manage to.
If you get if you find that spot and you analyse him correctly, So it's that. But I do love the fact that it's kind of, we were talking today, and it's kind of, we've got a sense of that you level up alongside your character. So you've got the RPG element of your character leveling up, but you level up alongside your character.
Exactly.
You suddenly start to understand how this game works, how that mechanic works. So you're learning alongside your game.
Exactly. That's exactly it. In the plot of the game is that you're playing as Henry, son of a blacksmith. You lose your parents in the beginning. That's something you saw in the trailer, so this is not a spoiler. But you're in the beginning of the game, you're a no one, and in the end of the game, you're less of a no one. What I mean is that you're not becoming a king.
You're not dragonborn.
You're not dragonborn. Yeah. You will not become a king or a ruler or something. But what you get is skilled. And what I mean with this is, of course, there's an RPG system, so you get faster, better in blocking, and so on and so on. But you personally, Toby, the gamer, will get better with his fingers playing the game. I will get faster, my reactions will be better, and you will hopefully understand the game and the concept behind it, and you will personally, bow shooting, for example. Bow shooting, you will you lose the crosshair when you
love the fact you've taken the crosshair out.
This is amazing. In the first place, this is super unusual for video games, and this is also very hard. But if you take your time and learn it a little bit, what I mean is like practicing it. The RPG system will, of course, support you. It will be less shaky if you level up. It will give you a slight zoom and so on. But ultimately, you as a player. As a player, you become a better archer because you understand, okay, so when I aim there, I need to go a little bit to the right, and then usually the arrow flies like this, okay, and you will get used to it. And the game is all about getting used to the stuff. So, for example, there's a helmet. There's a helmet you can use in the game which gives you full protection. So if you put it on, you are better protected. But it's a helmet with a visor, and when you put it on, you are looking through those visor holes.
Slit, like a letterbox.
So it's a lot giving and taking in Kingdom.
There's a pro and a con to
exactly. So when you will want to be fully protected with this helmet, do it. You can do it, but then you have limited vision, and then you say, "Crap! What should I do now?" If you say, "Okay, I don't want to play with this," then you don't use this kind of helmet. But then every hit or something that goes straight for the head is like lethal. So you have to think about it. What should I do? What type of gameplay do I want to do? Do I want to level the sneaking somehow and maybe solve my problems in a sneaky way? Do I want to be full steam ahead? Diplomatic. You fought a big battle today. However, you can. Not this one, I guess, but there will be these types of battles, and you can avoid them by questing
diplomatic
means to say, listen, we are coming, go away, and so on. So you can have your impact on this.
Yeah. And just finally to wrap up, this is an amazing game that started from a Kickstarter.
Yes.
So this is an amazing success story for Kickstarter. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that journey? And
this was a super long journey, and actually, if some of you out there actually supported us back then, Kickstarter, then thank you very much, because thanks to you, and this is, I know this sounds super cheesy, but this is actually true, we can sit here together in my home.
In your new home.
Thanks to you, I can
see by the Kickstarter money went.
Yes, thanks to you, I can spend the Kickstarter money and buy myself a castle in southern England. No, what I mean is that the Kickstarter was in January 2014. We successfully funded it in February 2014, and we released it in February 2018, which is exactly 4 years of development.
The Kickstarter, yeah.
And in the beginning, we were super nervous. It was like, will people like? It's an unusual concept. I'm German, and by that time I was not in the studio, but when they created the Kickstarter video, a bunch of Czech people were talking English, and they was like, will they think we are just some crazy guys from the East? Should we hire someone to talk proper English? And then they decided to keep it natural. That's how we is. And from day one, we were actually telling you about all the wins and fails, about all the development steps we did, about why things are not working as we intended to, why we unfortunately had to postpone. But this has reasons, because at Kickstarter we wanted to make Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, so 3 different games somehow, and then decided, you know what, let's do one great big game, and all of a sudden it expanded the time. So, but from the first day, and I'm right now traveling with the game for 3.5 years, whenever we gathered feedback, always. So you can, if you saw this game a year ago, it looked slightly different than today, because for example, the stamina thing. I mean, when you're getting out of stamina, the screen starts to get blue.
Yeah, it goes blue and kind of
blue, and this kind of tunnel vision, right? So because I found out from the feedback I gathered that when people were fighting in the fights or something, there's a stamina management thing in the game. So you need to have stamina to, it's a buffer for your health, so you need the stamina for defense, blocking, attacking, for everything. But people, when they were focusing on the fight, forget to look at the bar, and they were not realizing why Henry is not attacking actually, and they thought it's a bug. So we said, okay, you know what, we will add this visual feedback, so whenever you see the screen is turning blue slightly, you see immediately, oh, it's the stamina thing. So you step back, maybe take your time, and then go back again. And this gives you as a player to immerse. I know blue screen is not immersive, because in real life you don't have blue vision.
But it gives you that visual clue to step back. And,
yes, but when you are fighting, you can 100% concentrate on this opponent and don't need to take care of any other things than on your opponent who's right in front of you. Then in the end, it gives you, I think, more immersion, because you can completely focus on this one guy.
Yeah.
This is, and from day one, we did this. We were talking to the people, we were asking the backers how does it work. And before Kickstarter, we were around about 20 people. After Kickstarter, 40. The first alpha in October 2014 was made by 70 people. The beta was released by 90 people in 2016, and right now we are releasing the game with 110. So from 20 to 110 in 4 years.
So when can we expect the Kickstarter success documentary? When we get the behind the scenes road to Kingdom Come?
Well, actually, that's a very good point. We are we would like to have some kind of making of. This is something like future music, but it's definitely would be interesting to talk about it and show it somehow.
Yeah, I would love to. Actually, wasn't it 300,000 the target?
The target was
with 1.1 million.
Yes, but it has reasons. I mean, we knew that we wanted to have a huge Kingdom Come game.
Yeah.
But then was the Kickstarter problem. Kickstarter problem because we were afraid to ask for a high amount of money for a huge game, because maybe the people will not be so willing to give the money if the amount is so huge. So it's like, oh, they will never do it or something like this. So we thought, okay, it would make sense to cut it into 3 parts.
Make an episode.
And make episodes, Act 1, 2, 3.
So episode 1 is Kickstarter, but the profits from that pay for 2.
Exactly, and then the idea was to release the game in 2015, then the next one in 16, and the next one in 17. Yeah. But this would be like the story we are telling you right now.
Yeah.
So But then we tripled the amount from 300,000 British pounds. We got 1.1 million, and we started the development, and we began to think about where should we do the cuts and how should we implement it and how should we do it. And then in the development started to realize actually it would be sad and would not be a good idea to cut it somewhere because the cliffhangers and then I said, you know what? Actually, maybe this was not the greatest idea. We were reshuffled this idea of acts. We were talking to the people. Acts are gone, but we promised 20 hours. Right now, I think it's 100 hours easily, and even maybe more. So the amount got bigger. The feature list got bigger from 9 square kilometers map. We expanded to 16 square kilometers map, and so on and so on. And of course, then again, it took us more time. But to be honest, I think most of the video games that's the usual 2 to 5 years. I think is the usual.
Yeah, I don't think it's an overly long development cycle. I think it's
it's just that from day one everyone knows about. We were talking.
You've been honest all along.
It looks like we developed this forever because we were talking to the people and showing every mini piece of game we have and immediately this is what we work on and so on. So it looks like we do this forever, but of course it's just keeping you in the loop and showing you the way we go and so on.
Well, I can't wait to get more hands-on with this. But for now, I'm gonna leave it here and run out your house while you let the dog out on us. Thank you very much, Tobias.
Thank you very much.